Massive humanoid figures appearing worldwide. Height estimated 200 to 300 feet. Origin unknown. All citizens advised to remain indoors. Military mobilizing globally.
Everyone check in now. I can see one from my bunker. That thing is massive.
Oh my god, Zeke, there's one in Glasgow too. It just appeared out of nowhere. Buildings are collapsing just from its footsteps alone.
Tokyo has one too, Mount Fuji area. The university is evacuating.
Are you all safe?
I'm hiding in the cathedral ruins, but the ground won't stop shaking.
Underground lab for now. But Dad, the reports I'm getting, I don't think these things aren't even from Earth.
Obviously, Sherlock. What else can you tell me?
Well, their skin is translucent. I can see organs moving inside a lot of them, and they're not attacking. Just standing or walking, which is still destroying cities, but it doesn't seem intentional.
Not attacking yet, you mean? And either way, half of Glasgow is rubble because of these bastards, just from it moving around.
Stay where you are, both of you. Don't try to move until we know more. The military will handle this.
All units report. What's the situation worldwide?
Cairo Titan is stationary, approximately 280 feet tall, standing near the pyramids.
São Paulo reporting similar. Massive humanoid figure. Hardened skin visible from aircraft.
Moscow confirming presence. Red square area. Civilian casualties mounting from structural damage.
Weapons effectiveness reports.
Small arms fire is completely ineffective. Bullets appear to explode on contact.
Same here. Direct hits with RPGs show no damage either.
Tank rounds bouncing off too. No visible injury or reaction.
The one here is crying. I can see tears streaming down its face. Massive tears, each one the size of a car.
Crying?
It's the same in Tokyo. It's facing Mount Fuji and weeping. I've got a drone watching it. The sound is haunting, like whale songs but deeper.
That doesn't make sense. Why would they cry?
Maybe they don't want to be here, or perhaps they're as scared as we are.
Fighter jets engaging targets. Missile strikes confirmed. No visible damage to entities. Repeat, no damage observed.
I can hear the jets overhead. F-16s by the sound of it.
They're firing missiles at the Glasgow one. They're even landing direct hits, but the creature doesn't seem to give a damn.
Tokyo defense forces are trying everything. Missiles are literally bouncing off its skin. Seems to be like hitting a force field of some kind.
Jesus Christ. What the hell are these things?
Wait, something's happening here. The Titan is moving, turning toward the city center.
Oh crap, mine too. It's raising its hand. Oh no, so much for just standing there. I think it's about to start attacking.
Emergency scientific coordination needed desperately. This is Dr. Blackthorne, NASA Astrobiology, setting up Crisis Command Network.
Professor Al-Kitab responding. Currently in Jerusalem. Titan manifestation confirmed here as well.
Echo Volkov Cybersecurity. Can establish encrypted channels. Need to coordinate data collection.
Excellent. We need a global observation network immediately. These entities require immediate study.
Dr. Hayakawa from the Seismology Department, currently monitoring from the Kyoto area. The seismic impact from these things alone is catastrophic. Ground displacement equivalent to major earthquakes.
And through all this, the governments are in total chaos.
Then we work independently. Science before politics. What are we dealing with?
Operation Goliath is authorized. Nuclear strike preparation initiated.
Confirmed Egypt participating. Tactical nuclear deployment approved.
Brazil authorizing limited nuclear response.
Russia contributing to coordinated strike. Target the largest concentrations.
Synchronized detonation in T-minus 30 minutes. All personnel maintain a safe distance.
Civilian evacuation impossible. Too many people in blast radius.
Acceptable losses for global security.
Agreed. Humanity's survival takes a priority.
I made it to the underground passages. Medieval tunnel system beneath the cathedral. Still doesn't feel safe though.
Good God, I just saw the emergency broadcast here. They're talking about using nuclear weapons against the Titans.
What? They can't be serious. Nuclear weapons in populated areas.
Oh, they are serious, that's for sure. I can hear fighter jets everywhere. Different engine sounds, bigger planes.
B-52 bombers overhead. This is really happening.
Get as deep underground as possible, both of you. If they're dropping nukes...
Already moving deeper. These tunnels go down several levels.
University has deep basement levels. Radiation shielding for research. I'm heading there now.
Nuclear strikes imminent. All stations prepare for the blasts.
Hardened systems ready. Backup communications standing by.
Jerusalem strike zone confirmed. Taking shelter in ancient cisterns.
Seismic monitors will register detonations, attempting to maintain data collection.
We're so screwed. Nuclear weapons against unknown entities. In populated centers. We're gonna kill ourselves before these things even get the chance to.
The governments are panicking. There is no more rational decision-making.
Perhaps they know something we don't. Or perhaps they know nothing at all.
Detonation in 5 minutes. All sensors recording.
Nuclear strikes authorized globally. Tactical warheads deployed. Seeking to neutralize giant entities. Civilian casualties inevitable. Pray for humanity.
I love you both. Whatever happens,
I love you too, Dad. We'll get through this.
Love you, Dad. Love you, Sarah. See you on the other side.
detonation in 60 seconds. Stay alive.
All units execute. Operation Goliath is live.
Cairo strike confirmed.
São Paulo weapons away.
Moscow detonation successful.
Impact assessment pending.
Massive flash. Mushroom cloud forming.
Direct hit on target.
Titan obscured by blast. This better have worked.
Communications disrupted globally, switching to backup frequencies.
Jerusalem blast site clearing. I've got a visual on the target area.
The seismic data is painful to look at. Multiple nuclear detonations worldwide.
Can anyone see the Titans? Are they destroyed?
Negative. Titan still standing, completely unharmed.
Confirming multiple reports. Nuclear strikes ineffective.
Tokyo Titan undamaged. Not even a scratch visible.
Crap!
The flash lit up the entire tunnel system, but I'm alive. Are you both okay?
Just about. Radiation detectors going crazy, but the Titan is still there.
Bunker systems held. And whoa. What do you mean it's still there?
The Glasgow Titan? The nuclear blast hit it directly. The damn thing didn't even wince. It's just standing there crying.
Same here. Zero damage visible. It's like the nuclear weapons were mosquito bites.
No, that can't be. Nothing survives a direct nuclear impact.
Well, clearly these things do. And now they're moving again.
All stations report. Damage assessment on targets.
Cairo Titan showing 0 damage. Repeat, 0 damage.
São Paulo target unharmed. Nuclear strike completely ineffective.
Moscow confirming same. Entity appears unaffected by nuclear detonation.
How is this possible?
Unknown. Weapons were deployed correctly. Direct hits confirmed.
They're not just unharmed. They're moving toward population centers.
Same observation here. Deliberate movement patterns.
We failed.
It's reaching down. The Titan is reaching toward the city. Oh god, it's picking people up. Huge handfuls of people.
The Tokyo Titan is doing the same. It's scooping up crowds. They're all screaming, begging to be put down.
What's it doing with them?
It's eating them, like snacks, all whilst barely paying attention.
Same here, consuming humans absent-mindedly, while still crying and still weeping continuously.
This is beyond a nightmare. We're no more than insects to them.
Worse than insects. At least people notice when they step on ants. These things are eating us like we're nothing.
Feeding behavior confirmed globally. Mass consumption of human populations.
Death toll estimates climbing exponentially. Millions gone in minutes.
They show no malice, no anger or hatred, just pure indifference.
Like we're not even sentient to them. We're just food.
But they're crying. Why would they cry while feeding?
Perhaps they're prisoners themselves, forced to do this against their will.
Governments collapsing worldwide. Communication networks failing. Society breaking down in real time.
Commercial aviation ceased. Maritime travel unavailable. Titans blocking of all major routes.
We're cut off. All of us. Scattered across a dying world.
We can't reunite, can we? No flights, no ships. The Titans control everything now.
I'm trapped in Scotland, thousands of miles from you both.
Same in Japan. We're on separate continents, with these monsters between us.
Then we survive separately, and we keep talking, as long as communications hold.
The world is ending, isn't it? This is actually the apocalypse.
Maybe. Or maybe it's something else. Something we don't understand yet.
Either way, we will endure. We survive, and we find each other somehow.
Promise me. Promise we'll find a way back together.
I promise. Whatever it takes.
I promise too. This family doesn't break, not even for Titans.
Nuclear strikes completely ineffective. Entities consuming human populations. Death toll in millions and climbing. Governments declaring martial law. God help us all.
New secure channel established. Traditional internet infrastructure failing globally, but virtual mesh network holding stable for now.
Confirming connection stability. Hardened communication protocols are now officially active.
Al-Kitab responding from the Jerusalem bunker.
Hayakawa online from Kyoto underground facility.
Grim checking in from London command post.
It's good to hear from you all. Now what's our global situation after the nuclear failures?
Military intelligence indicates complete weapon ineffectiveness, including chemical and biological agents. We threw everything at these things.
Government communications breaking down worldwide. Most officials evacuated to undisclosed locations.
Seismic data suggests these entities defy physics. Mass calculations are stupendously erroneous.
Elaborate on that physics violation, please.
Each Titan registers approximately 800,000 tons, but they move with such grace. Gravity should crush them at that mass, yet they stand and walk normally. Some even float.
That's not possible under Earth physics.
Perhaps they operate under different natural laws.
Whatever they are, conventional warfare is useless. We need new approaches immediately.
Everyone's still alive out there?
Barely hanging on in Glasgow. The Titan here has been stationary for 3 days now since its last cycle, just standing and weeping over the city ruins. The blood of thousands dripping from it.
The Tokyo Titan actually ended up moving yesterday, walked from Mount Fuji to downtown, consumed roughly 50,000 people in minutes, then returned to its original position.
I'm tracking movement patterns across North America. Chicago Titan follows similar behavior. Stationary for days, then sudden and disastrous feeding cycles.
They're farming us, like we're livestock.
It feels like that, yeah. They also seem to know exactly where our population centers are, and they target maximum density areas.
But why the waiting periods? Why not just consume everything at once?
Maybe they're on some kind of schedule, or perhaps there's a limit to how much they can process at a given time.
Or they're being controlled. The crying suggests they don't want to do this.
Controlled by what, though?
Something worse than them. Something we haven't seen yet.
Consolidated weapon effectiveness reports. All conventional munitions confirmed useless.
Cairo Command tried biological weapons. Anthrax deployment showed zero effect.
Sao Paulo attempted chemical agents. It just blew away all the nerve gas.
Moscow deployed experimental plasma weapons. We really thought this railgun would be enough. The Titan didn't even register the impact when it struck.
Beijing confirming electromagnetic pulse weapons ineffective. Nuclear EMP detonation produced no response.
So we truly have nothing. Humanity's greatest weapons cannot even lay a scratch on them.
Their skin appears organic but impervious, like living diamond or something far beyond our clearly feeble understanding.
Medical scans show internal organs moving, but the exterior is completely invulnerable.
Perhaps we're approaching this wrong. Maybe they can't be fought with weapons.
Then how do we fight them?
We don't. Not yet. We survive and we learn, and we hope someone finds an answer.
Cross-referencing apocalyptic literature globally, searching for Titan behavioral parallels in historical religions.
Professor Williams responding from Oxford, accessing medieval manuscripts.
Dr. Chen checking in from Vatican archives, reviewing prophetic texts.
Al-Baghdadi from Cairo Islamic Archives, consulting ancient Arabic sources.
Aha! I found some pretty disturbing parallels in Enochian literature. You see, in the Book of Enoch, the masters describe things called watchers, giant beings condemned to consume the innocent.
Confirming similar references in Celtic prophecies, giants who weep while destroying.
Vatican texts mention Nephilim returned, fallen angels forced to devour humanity.
Quranic commentaries describe imprisoned jinn compelled to destroy against their will.
The pattern is consistent across cultures. Beings of immense power, imprisoned and forced to consume countless human lives, all whilst showing obvious distress about their actions.
All texts mention they appear during humanity's final test.
A purification period before divine intervention.
But first, humanity must prove worthy of salvation.
Or face complete extinction. These may not be invaders, they may be instruments of judgment.
Seismic analysis complete. 800,000-ton mass per entity confirmed, but gravitational displacement is wrong. They should be sinking into the Earth's crust. Yet instead, they walk on the surface like feathers.
Quantum scans showing dimensional distortions. Space-time warping around each Titan. They exist partially outside our reality.
This supports the ancient texts. Beings from higher dimensions, operating under celestial physics, not terrestrial.
So we're fighting entities that ignore natural laws? No wonder our weapons are useless.
They're not bound by Earth's physics. Mass, gravity, momentum, none of it applies to them normally.
Seismic patterns show they can literally phase through solid matter, when convenient for them of course, but choose to interact physically during feeding.
Dimensional anchoring during consumption cycles. They become temporarily solid to eat us.
So they can control their physical interaction with our reality. That's terrifying.
Ancient texts call this the descent, when celestial beings take earthly form to execute divine judgment.
Judgment for what exactly?
For failing as a species, for not living up to our potential, for choosing violence over wisdom.
The Glasgow Titan just moved again, walked straight through a mountain, like it wasn't even there.
Tokyo Titan did something similar yesterday, flew right through a skyscraper. Building passed through its body like mist, then solidified to grab people from the street.
They can control their physical density. That's how they ignore physics. They exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously.
So shooting them is like shooting a hologram, unless they choose to be solid.
And they only choose solidity when feeding, or when they want to cause destruction.
We're dealing with beings that operate outside reality. How do you fight something like that?
You don't fight it, you survive it, and hope it eventually goes away.
But what if it doesn't go away? What if this is permanent?
Then humanity adapts. We always do. We find underground cities, hidden communities. We become invisible to them.
Like insects insects hiding from giants. That's what we've become.
The university lost another 1,000 students today. Titan feeding cycle hit the dormitories. I watched from the basement. They never even saw it coming.
I'm sorry, son. I'm so damn sorry you have to see this.
We all have to see it now. This is our world now.
Percy, are you there?
I'm here, Dad. Safe in the subway tunnels beneath Chicago. But I've been watching the people above on my drone.
There are still people up on the surface?
I don't know if you can call them that anymore, to be honest. From what I've seen, some people are throwing themselves at its feet. Deliberate suicide attempts.
What? Why would they do that?
They think if they surrender willingly, it'll be quicker, less painful than being grabbed randomly and dismembered. But the Titan just steps on them accidentally. It doesn't even notice their sacrifice.
Jesus Christ.
Others have built shrines, makeshift altars around the creature's feet. They're worshipping it, praying to it, begging for mercy or salvation.
Are they being spared?
No, the Titan feeds on the worshippers too. It consumes them just like everyone else. Their devotion means nothing to it.
So it truly doesn't care about human behavior at all?
It's worse than not caring. It's like we don't exist to it, except as food, of course.
Keep watching this, Percy. Someone needs to record what's happening for whatever comes after. Assuming there'll even be an after.
Communication networks holding for now, but governments now fully enforcing martial law globally. Military establishing so-called safety zones.
Those safety zones are psychological comfort only. When Titans decide to feed, nowhere is safe.
Confirmed yesterday in Kyoto. Military cordoned off University District, called it a protected area. Titan walked right through and fed anyway.
How many casualties?
Approximately 15,000 students and civilians. The zone meant absolutely nothing.
Same reports from around the world. Safety zones being overrun constantly. Military can't protect anyone from these things.
Perhaps the safety zones serve a different purpose, keeping populations concentrated for easier Titan access.
That's a horrifying thought, but it makes sense. Herd behavior for easier feeding.
Military leadership is in complete denial, still planning conventional defensive strategies against entities that literally ignore all physical laws of this world.
Infrastructure collapse accelerating. Power grids failing in Titan zones. Water treatment plants abandoned.
Civilization breaking down systematically, city by city, region by region.
We're witnessing the end of organized human society in real time. What a crappy time to be alive.
Akira? Are you getting the seismic readings?
Yes, Obi. The improvised equipment functions well. Ground vibrations precede Titan movement by approximately 12 minutes. Subtle, but detectable with proper calibration.
That's enough warning time for some people to hide.
Perhaps, though hiding has limited effectiveness. Titans seem to sense human concentrations.
Still better than no warning at all. I'm setting up similar equipment across the university district.
The pattern recognition is fascinating. Each Titan has unique vibrational signatures, like fingerprints in the earth.
Can we predict feeding cycles?
Attempting pattern analysis now. Preliminary data suggests feeding every 72 to 96 hours, but the timing varies by individual Titan.
If we can map the patterns, we might help people avoid feeding zones.
A noble goal, though I fear the Titans will adapt to their behavior. They seem to learn our hiding places.
Well, it's still worth trying. Any advantage is better than complete helplessness.
Agreed. We maintain hope through action, even in the face of impossible odds.
Reporting from the Bay of Biscay, observing coastal Titan behavior. These creatures wade into the ocean, but they never fully submerge.
Confirming similar behavior off the coast of Portugal. Several of the Titans stand waist-deep in water, but maintain contact with the atmosphere.
Same observation from the Mediterranean. The Titan near Barcelona never goes completely underwater.
Clearly then, they must require atmospheric contact to exist, suggesting respiratory or three-dimensional needs.
Or they lose physical coherence when fully submerged.
Could water interfere with their dimensional anchoring?
Possibly. Also noting they ignore maritime traffic completely. Ships pass directly beneath their legs. No reaction whatsoever.
Unless there are humans aboard. If so, then they'll reach down and feed.
So boats without people are invisible to them. Only human presence triggers their attention.
Exactly. They track living humans specifically, not technology or vessels.
This could be useful information. Unmanned supply runs might be possible if we use drones.
If any supply chain still exists to run, that is.
Most ports are abandoned or destroyed, but small-scale operations might work, at least for isolated communities.
Dr. Kozlov reporting mass insomnia epidemic. Sleep disorder specialist documenting psychological breakdown.
Dr. Freeman confirming from London. Widespread sleep deprivation in survivor populations.
Dr. Singh reporting from Delhi underground bunker. Existential trauma
affecting nearly everyone.
Dr. Thompson from Sydney Tunnel Network. Suicide rates climbing exponentially.
The constant weeping sounds trigger fight or flight responses. Human nervous systems not designed for perpetual giant presence.
Patients report nightmares about being consumed when they do eventually manage to sleep.
Children have been especially affected. Many have stopped speaking entirely.
Adults exhibiting complete emotional shutdown. Dissociation from reality as a coping mechanism.
We're documenting complete psychological collapses all across the globe. Our entire species is experiencing one hell of a collective trauma.
Some patients believe they're already dead, living in hell or purgatory.
Religious delusions increasing. End times prophecies spreading rapidly.
Others convinced this is all a simulation, a virtual reality nightmare they can't escape.
Rational thought breaking down systematically. The human mind can't process this level of cosmic insignificance.
We've become psychological casualties, even those not physically consumed.
Humanity is crumbling from within, while titans destroy us from without.
Double extinction, physical and psychological.
Emergency strategy session required. All conventional approaches have failed.
Perhaps we should consider appeasement, mass sacrifices to appease these entities.
You mean offering humans voluntarily?
Controlled feeding to satisfy their hunger. Prevent random attacks on populations.
That's barbaric. We're talking about murdering our own people.
But if it saves more lives overall?
No, absolutely not. We're not feeding people to these things.
But they're taking people anyway. At least this way we could control the process.
Hassan, they don't need our help. They can grab humans whenever they want. Offering sacrifices won't change their behavior.
The Titans operate on their own schedule. Our cooperation is irrelevant to them.
So what do we do then? Just watch humanity die?
We get people underground, deep underground, build hidden cities beneath their notice.
Underground cities for millions of people? With what resources?
Most construction equipment is destroyed, and workers are terrified to surface.
Existing tunnel systems then, subway networks, mine shafts, natural caves.
Beijing has extensive underground infrastructure, could potentially house hundreds of thousands.
It's our only option. Surface civilization is finished. We become mole people or we become extinct.
How long can humans survive underground? Without sunlight, fresh air, proper food production?
Longer than we'll survive on the surface.
We adapt or we die. Those are our only choices now.
I'll begin underground infrastructure assessment. See what's viable for long-term habitation.
Do it quickly. Surface time is running out for all of us.
Information Exchange Network operational. Trading post established at King's Cross Station. Survival supplies for Titan intelligence.
Good. I need those feeding schedules desperately.
Ashton Wilson from Piccadilly Tunnel System. Can you confirm safe passage routes to Westminster?
Well, feeding schedules vary by Titan. London Titan feeds every 84 hours approximately, always between 3 and 7 a.m. local time.
How accurate is this data?
We've tracked it for 3 weeks straight, and the pattern holds pretty consistent so far, but I can't guarantee it won't change.
Westminster route is partially blocked. Titan destroyed the bridge yesterday during feeding cycle. Alternative route through Waterloo Tunnel System.
What about Camden Passage?
Camden is clear for now, but still avoid the surface level completely. Titan sensors detect vehicle movement above ground.
Sensors?
It's unknown exactly as to their specific type, but any motorized transport triggers an immediate response from the Titans. Many have learned that the hard way. Lost an entire supply convoy yesterday because of it.
Jesus Christ, how many people?
27, all taken instantly as soon as they started the engines. Stay on foot or use bicycles only.
This is absolutely no way to live, crawling through tunnels like rats.
It's better than being eaten, which is our only alternative, may I remind you.
Any word from other European cities?
Paris network went dark 3 days ago. Berlin still responding, but barely. Rome completely silent.
We're truly on our own then?
Pretty much, but the network here is growing. More survivors joining daily.
What's the cost for this intelligence?
Medical supplies mostly. Antibiotics, painkillers, bandages. Also canned food and water purification tablets.
I can provide some medical supplies. I need a safe route to the Royal London Hospital ruins.
Hospital district is Titan territory now, as is everything up above. But I know a way through the old pneumatic postal tunnels. Meet me at Russell Square tomorrow at midnight. I'll take you there.
Hermano Santos reporting from the monastery. The situation here is unusual.
Brother Miguel responding from the valley below. The Titan near Mount Orion seems to behave differently to the others.
Sister Elena confirming strange observations. This creature hasn't moved in 3 weeks.
It's not just stationary either. It keeps on emitting some kind of a low humming sound, like whale song but deeper.
The wildlife seems calm around it. Deer graze near its feet. Birds nest in the trees surrounding it.
No feeding behavior observed. It just stands and hums and weeps.
There's something different about this one. Less aggressive, more sorrowful.
Could it be malfunctioning? Whatever controls these things breaking down?
Or perhaps it's resisting its programming, fighting against its compulsion to feed.
The humming has a calming effect, even on humans. Refugees who come here report better sleep, less nightmares and anxiety.
Like it's trying to heal instead of harm.
Should we report this to other survivor groups?
Carefully. Don't want to draw unwanted attention, but this could be important.
Maybe this Titan is breaking free somehow, finding its own will again.
Or maybe Mount Orion has special significance. Something about this location affects it.
Either way, we'll continue monitoring and protecting the refugees who seek sanctuary here.
The mountain feels safer with this giant guardian here, even if it's supposed to be our enemy.
Perhaps not all of them are truly our enemies. Perhaps some can be saved too.
Critical discovery in Dead Sea Scroll fragments. References to Nephilim bound.
Professor Williams requesting elaboration.
Dr. Chen here, what exactly did you find?
Al-Baghdadi is very interested in these findings.
Fragment designation 4. Q541. And the Nephilim bound shall consume the flesh of men, while weeping for their own salvation, for they are prisoners of the watchers above.
That matches Titan behavior exactly. Consumption while weeping.
Prisoners of higher beings? So they're controlled by something else?
What else does the text say?
More fragments describe their physical form. Giants whose skin shows the life within, standing as tall as cedars, yet bound to devour the innocent against their will.
Exact description of the Titan.
And the unwilling consumption behavior. They're following ancient prophecy.
Does the text mention how to stop them?
Fragmented references to the Key of Enoch. When the bound are released, the watchers fall, and the children of men shall see salvation.
Released how? What's the mechanism?
The text is too damaged to determine that, I'm afraid, but there are references to Mount Orion. Upon the sacred peak where angels fell.
Mount Orion appears in multiple prophecies, across different religious traditions.
Islamic texts mention Jabal al-Malaika, the mountain of the angels, where divine judgment begins and ends.
These Titans aren't invaders. They're prisoners serving a sentence, forced to consume humanity as punishment.
Punishment for what crime?
Unclear from available texts, but their weeping suggests remorse. They don't want to do this.
Dr. Kozlov reporting 3-year psychological assessment. Mass suicide rates have finally stabilized.
It's the first sign of hope in a while. The initial pandemic suicide wave has subsided, and now more psychological adaptation mechanisms are emerging.
Survivor populations developing new coping strategies.
Year 1 suicide rate peaked at 23% of survivors. Year 2 dropped to 8%. Year 3 stabilized at 3%.
Humans adapt to any reality given sufficient time, even incomprehensible cosmic horror.
Dissociation has become normalized. Emotional numbing as standard psychological state.
Children born post-Titan show different neural patterns, adapted brain structure for constant fear environment.
Birth rates remain catastrophically low, though. Global births down 97% from pre-Titan levels.
Reproductive shutdown in extreme stress situations is an evolutionary response to unsurvivable conditions.
Parents who do reproduce often regret it immediately. The guilt over bringing consciousness into this nightmare of a world is overwhelming.
Some communities have banned reproduction entirely, considering it immoral under current circumstances.
Yet others embrace hedonistic reproduction, since tomorrow is never guaranteed anyway.
Two extreme responses to the same stimulus: complete reproductive shutdown or complete abandon.
Society has fractured into survival-focused tribes, each developing different psychological adaptations.
No universal human response to Titans, just individual and group survival strategies.
The human psyche proves remarkably adaptable, even to witnessing our own cosmic insignificance daily.
Though the cost is our essential humanity, we survive by becoming something else.
Something harder and colder, more like machines than humans.
Perhaps that's what survival requires now, abandoning what made us human in the first place.
Evolution in real time, psychological speciation. We're becoming a different species entirely.
3 years. The Titans have finally stopped their feeding cycles. But my friends, I think it has been replaced with exactly the behavior we were afraid of. Desperation.
Cairo confirming random feeding cycles. There is absolutely no correlation with population density anymore.
São Paulo reporting similar findings. Geographic features irrelevant to feeding choices.
Moscow, data shows complete unpredictability. Titans hunt whatever they encounter.
Beijing analysis confirms global pattern, or lack thereof.
They're not farming us systematically anymore, because there's not enough of us left. They're simply consuming whatever they notice now.
Like absent-minded snacking, grabbing whatever's convenient.
No intelligence behind feeding selections, just opportunistic consumption.
This makes them even more dangerous. Completely unpredictable timing and targeting.
Survival becomes purely random. No safe patterns to exploit.
Global military capability assessment. Conventional forces reduced to local security only.
Egypt maintains approximately 3,000 active personnel in underground bunker operations exclusively.
Brazil down to 1,500 functional military, mostly tunnel patrol and survivor rescue.
Russia retains 8,000 troops, but those are scattered all across its vast territory.
China's People's Liberation Army reduced to 15,000, still the largest functional military force.
Combined global military strength, less than 50,000 active personnel worldwide, down from over 65 million pre-Titan.
The military is obsolete against Titans anyway. We're glorified mall security guards now.
Protecting survivor communities from human threats, while Titans remain completely beyond our reach.
Our role has changed completely, from fighting external enemies to maintaining internal order in the ruins of our civilization.
Some survivor groups have turned to banditry, raiding other communities for resources.
Humanity's greatest enemy is now itself. While Titans remain utterly indifferent to our conflicts,
we police the end of the world, maintaining order during humanity's slow and drawn-out extinction.
At least it gives purpose to the ones who are still remaining, something to focus on besides our cosmic inferiority.
Our purpose is built on delusion, though. We are rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic.
Perhaps delusion is necessary for survival. Reality is too devastating to face directly.
Then we maintain the delusion, as long as it keeps people alive.
Social fragmentation accelerating across North America. Communities splitting into opposing factions.
Same happening in Scotland. Religious cults forming around Titan worship.
Japan seeing similar divisions, though more organized due to cultural cohesion.
Chicago has 3 major faction types now: worshippers, hedonists, and survivalists.
Explain the worshipper communities.
They believe Titans are divine messengers, sent to purify humanity through suffering, build shrines, and hold daily prayer services.
Glasgow worshippers throw themselves at the Titans' feet, seeking martyrdom and divine favor. They still get eaten like everyone else, though.
Tokyo cult members starve themselves, believing suffering brings them closer to Titan consciousness.
And the hedonist groups?
Complete abandonment of social norms, constant parties, drinking, and ceding all civility to barbarism, since tomorrow might never come anyway.
Edinburgh hedonists have huge parties in the ruins of their once proud city, all of them drunk while Titans feed nearby.
Kyoto pleasure seekers spend everything on temporary joy, no thought for long-term survival.
Both responses to the same existential terror, seeking meaning or numbing pain.
The survivalists just focus on staying alive, building communities, gathering resources, trying to outlast whatever this is.
Most rational response, though sometimes feels pointless.
Survival for its own sake, without hope for a better future.
Hope is dangerous now. It leads to disappointment and breakdown. Better to focus on immediate needs.
Some survivalist groups are turning violent, though, raiding other communities for supplies.
Tribalism emerging everywhere. Us versus them mentality.
Human nature reverting to primitive patterns, under extreme stress.
We're witnessing civilization's complete collapse, not just from Titans, but from internal breakdown.
Titans may destroy our cities, but we're destroying our humanity ourselves.
Maybe that's part of the judgment, forcing us to reveal our true nature.
And our true nature is apparently pretty ugly when pushed to extremes.
Not all of it. Some people still help each other, still show compassion and cooperation.
The best and worst of humanity, magnified by crisis.
Wonder which side will ultimately prevail, if any of us survive long enough to find out.
Assuming survival itself has any meaning, in a world dominated by Titans.
Survival always has meaning, even if we can't see the purpose yet. We keep going and hope purpose reveals itself.
Faith without evidence, the only kind that matters anymore.
Faith that this nightmare will end somehow, that humanity has a future worth reaching.
Or faith that our suffering serves some greater purpose, even if we never understand what that is.
Either way, we endure, because the alternative is giving up, and we're not there yet.
Critical behavioral change observed globally. All Titans now exhibiting synchronized arm positioning.
Confirming similar observations from multiple locations.
Jerusalem Titan raised both arms skyward yesterday.
Tokyo entity showing identical posture.
London Titan assumes same position simultaneously.
This is coordinated behavior across all 144 entities, arms raised upward in apparent supplication, like they are begging for something.
Begging to be taken home, perhaps? Released from whatever binds them here?
Perhaps they are communicating with an external entity beyond Earth's atmosphere, something that brought them here originally.
Satellite arrays detecting unusual electromagnetic emissions, directed upward from each Titan location.
They are calling out to their masters, asking to be recalled from this prison.
If something responds to their calls, what happens to us?
Nothing good, I would imagine.
We need to monitor these transmissions carefully. Any response could signal the next phase.
Already tracking all possible radio waves. And I'm not seeing any incoming signals yet.
Perhaps their masters are not listening, or perhaps they are preparing for round 2.
The Titans seem more agitated lately. Their weeping has intensified significantly.
Desperation increasing as time passes. They want out of here as much as we want them gone.
But their departure might not mean our salvation. It could signal the arrival of something else.
Something that makes Titans look harmless by comparison.
The final judgment, perhaps, after the preliminary punishment ends.
We can only wait and observe, and prepare for whatever comes next.
If preparation is even possible, against cosmic forces beyond our comprehension.
God, humanity really is one cursed species.
Hey, been a while. I wanted to ask you guys something. You see, there are individuals where I am who have direct exposure to the Titans. They are claiming to receive prophetic dreams.
What kind of prophetic dreams?
Visions of the future, mostly. End-time scenarios and cosmic revelations, though most of them seem severely traumatized.
We have similar cases in Glasgow. People who got too close to the Titan. They speak in riddles and prophecies now.
Tokyo has a whole community of these individuals. They call themselves the Titan Touched. Live in the ruins near the creature's feet.
Are their prophecies accurate?
Some predictions have come true. Weather patterns, seismic events, Titan movements. But they also babble complete nonsense.
The Glasgow group predicted the Titan's arm raising 3 days before it happened.
So they have some genuine prescient abilities?
Possibly. Or they are just very good at reading subtle signs that normal people miss.
Most of them are completely insane, though. Catatonic or speaking in unknown languages.
The price of Titan proximity seems to be a complete and total mental breakdown, with occasional flashes of supernatural insight.
Are they dangerous to other survivors?
Not directly, but they attract unwanted attention. Some people worship them as oracles.
Others fear them as cursed or demonic. It creates division in survivor communities.
The Tokyo group has become a pilgrimage site. People travel across the country to hear their prophecies.
What do they say about the future?
Mostly incomprehensible rambling, but recurring themes about salvation coming from above.
And judgment ending when humanity proves itself to be worthy, whatever that means.
One Tokyo prophet keeps mentioning that Mount Orion place. Says something important will happen there.
Mount Orion appears in the ancient texts too. Perhaps these visions really are all connected.
All of them seem to be receiving the same transmission, from the same source as the Titans.
Then they might be our early warning system for whatever's coming next.
If we can interpret their madness correctly.
And if their minds survive long enough to deliver the message.
Most Titan Touch die within months of infection. Their brains cannot handle the cosmic input.
Then we listen while we can, and hope their sacrifice means something.
The nature of our oppressors becomes clearer. These are not mere alien invaders.
Brother Al-Kitab agrees with this assessment. Ancient texts speak of entities beyond normal reality.
Comparative mythology suggests cosmic horror origins.
Could it be something Lovecraftian in nature?
Lovecraft accessed genuine cosmic truths through dreams or mystical insight.
Islamic tradition describes similar entities, the jinn of the outer darkness, beings that exist between dimensions.
Celtic mythology mentions the Tuatha De Danann, giant supernatural beings that ruled before humans.
Cthulhu mythos describes great old ones, cosmic entities that view humanity as insignificant.
Are these the monsters who sent these bastards here?
It would make sense. The monsters here are mere servants of greater cosmic intelligences such as these entities, the true nightmare gods that remain hidden.
If the Titans are merely servants, what are their masters like?
Entities that treat Titans as expendable tools, the way Titans treat humans as food.
A vicious hierarchy of cosmic horror, each level seeing lower levels as insects.
And we are at the very bottom. Insects beneath insects.
The Titans weep because they know this. They understand their own cosmic insignificance.
Forced to serve beings even more terrible than themselves, all all while slowly losing their sanity from the horror.
This explains their behavior patterns, reluctant servants carrying out orders.
Orders from entities we cannot ever hope to comprehend, using methods beyond our understanding.
The raised arms suggest they are reporting to their superiors about mission progress.
Or begging for the mission to end before they completely lose themselves.
Either way, humanity faces forces that operate on scales we cannot grasp.
Our survival depends on remaining beneath notice of the true powers behind this invasion.
Until they decide our fate permanently, one way or another.
We are caught in a cosmic conflict between entities that barely acknowledge our existence.
Pray that we remain insignificant. Significance would mean certain destruction.
Discovered classified government documents, pre-apocalypse files from abandoned military installations.
And
these are communication records between world leaders, dating back 6 months before Titan arrival. They knew this was coming.
That is impossible. How could they have known?
Religious consultations with the Vatican, secret meetings with Islamic scholars, Buddhist monastery conferences.
The major religious leaders were involved?
Encrypted communications mention prophetic warnings and preparation for divine judgment.
So the Pope knew about the Titans and other religious authorities?
According to these documents, yes. They received mystical warnings months in advance.
Why did they not warn the public?
Fear of mass panic, apparently, and concern about election cycles.
Election cycles? They were more worried about votes than of an incoming apocalypse?
Politicians remained politicians, even when facing cosmic judgment.
What preparations did they make?
Underground bunkers for government officials, military contingency plans that proved useless, resource stockpiling in secure locations.
They saved themselves and left everyone else to face the Titans unprepared. Those bunkers could have housed millions instead of just the political elite.
Humanity could have prepared properly, built massive underground cities, developed survival protocols in advance.
How many lives could have been saved?
Millions, possibly, maybe even hundreds of millions.
This is beyond criminal negligence. This is genocide through abandonment.
Where are these government officials now?
Most bunkers show signs of Titan attacks. Apparently their hiding places were not as secure as they planned.
So their selfishness was ultimately pointless. They died anyway while dooming everyone else.
Poetic justice, perhaps, though it does not bring back the dead.
Should we publicize this information?
To what end? The governments are gone. The officials are dead.
For historical record, so survivors know the truth.
And to prevent future betrayals, if humanity somehow survives this, the anger might give people purpose, something to fight for besides mere survival.
Or it might break what little hope remains, learning that salvation was possible but denied.
Truth is better than ignorance, even painful truth.
Then I will distribute these documents through secure channels to all survivor networks.
Let humanity judge its former leaders, for whatever that judgment is worth now.
Justice delayed, but not denied. Even after death, at least we will know who to blame for this completely preventable catastrophe.
Blame does not resurrect the dead, but perhaps it will honor their memory and ensure we never forget who failed us. Wow, today actually marks the 8th anniversary of the Titan invasion. But hey, that's not the only news. The Mount Orion Titan is actively undergoing visible transformation.
I can see it on the drone. The creature's skin is developing luminous patterns.
I'm observing from the valley position too. The mountain seems to be pulsing in rhythm with the creature's vocalizations.
Light emissions growing stronger daily. Satellite readings show massive energy output.
The subsonic humming has changed frequency. More musical now, almost like singing.
Wildlife responding to the new sounds. Animals migrating toward Mount Orion in huge numbers.
Deer, birds, even predators moving peacefully together, like they are being called home.
The Titan has stopped feeding entirely. No consumption behavior observed for 3 weeks.
Instead, it seems to be protecting the mountain, positioning itself as a guardian.
Any human approach triggers immediate response, but not feeding response, defensive response.
It is protecting something inside Mount Orion, something important enough to change its entire nature.
Seismic readings suggest massive structures beneath the mountain, artificial or supernatural in origin.
The transformation is accelerating, new features emerging daily.
Wings starting to develop from its shoulders. Multiple wings like biblical descriptions.
Eyes appearing across its body, each one expressing different emotions.
This is biblical imagery coming to life, a true seraphim manifestation.
The weeping continues, though, even as it transforms into something divine.
Perhaps the tears serve a different purpose now. Blessing or consecration rather than sorrow.
The mountain itself is beginning to glow, light emanating from deep within the rock.
Whatever is happening here, this is the culmination we have been waiting for.
Massive energy bursts detected from Mount Orion. Light emissions beyond any natural phenomenon.
Communication arrays detecting coherent signals, coming from the transformed Titan.
Theological implications are staggering. This matches seraphim descriptions perfectly.
Six-winged being with multiple eyes, exactly as described in biblical texts. The mountain contains artificial structures, geometric patterns visible through ground-penetrating radar.
Signal analysis complete. The transformed entity is broadcasting in multiple languages simultaneously.
Divine communication transcending linguistic barriers, as prophesied in ancient texts.
What is the content of these transmissions? The signals correspond with reported telepathic messages, survivors worldwide claiming to receive identical instructions.
Instructions to travel to Mount Orion and speak the phrase Salva Nos.
Salva nos means save us in Latin, a prayer for divine intervention.
Why would the seraphim want humans to come to Mount Orion? Unknown, but the transformation suggests this is the end game, the purpose behind 8 years of Titan occupation.
The message bypasses normal sensory channels. Direct consciousness implantation, regardless of language or cognitive ability.
Divine revelation in its purest form, unfiltered by human interpretation.
Even children and mentally impaired individuals receive the message, perfectly translated into their understanding level. This is beyond any human technology or alien technology we could imagine.
The Seraphim has become a perfect communication device, broadcasting to every surviving human simultaneously.
7 billion people once lived on Earth. How many received this message?
Estimates suggest fewer than 100,000 survivors globally, all receiving identical telepathic instructions. The question remains whether this is salvation or the final trap in humanity's extermination.
Seraphim communication analysis complete. The entity bypasses all normal neurological pathways.
Reconnaissance teams reporting Titan migration toward Mount Orion. All 143 remaining entities moving toward the mountain.
Global positioning confirms coordinated movement. Titans abandoning their territories simultaneously.
This is the gathering prophesied in Revelation, the final assembly before judgment.
The Seraphim's message implants directly into consciousness. No sensory input required for reception.
Approach to Mount Orion becoming impossible. Titan Guardians exhibit extreme hostility to human presence.
Multiple survivor groups attempting pilgrimage routes. Most are being intercepted and consumed by Guardian Titans.
The path to salvation is guarded by instruments of destruction, testing human determination and faith.
The message includes warnings about Guardian protocols, cryptic references to Second Judgment.
What constitutes a second judgment, and how does successful mountain ascent prevent it?
Unknown, but the Seraphim implies humanity's survival depends on completion of whatever ritual awaits at Mount Orion's summit.
Mount Orion appears in multiple ancient texts as the site where divine judgment concludes.
The Seraphim exhibits perfect emotional expression through its multiple eyes: joy, sorrow, anger, compassion, determination.
Even while maintaining constant weeping, suggesting complex divine psychology.
The transformation from Titan to Seraphim indicates evolution, or revelation of true divine nature.
Perhaps the Titans were always angels, imprisoned and forced to carry out unwilling destruction.
Now released to serve their true purpose, whatever that purpose might be.
Guardian duty suggests the mountain contains something precious, worth protecting at all costs.
Something that requires human participation to activate, hence the telepathic summons.
The phrase Salva Nos suggests humanity must ask for salvation, rather than having it imposed.
Free will preservation, even during divine intervention. Humanity must choose its own rescue.
Everyone receiving the Seraphim's message?
Perfectly clear telepathic communication. Instructions to reach Mount Orion.
Same message received in Tokyo, but the route seems impossible.
Chicago groups organizing pilgrimage attempts. Most are failing due to Titan Guardians.
I am coordinating Midwest survivor networks, planning large-scale assault on Mount Orion's perimeter.
Assault seems like the wrong approach. If this is divine intervention,
perhaps stealth infiltration would work better. Small teams avoiding Guardian detection.
Early reconnaissance teams report total Guardian coverage. No apparent gaps in their defensive perimeter.
Then we create gaps through coordinated distraction. Draw Guardians away from primary approach routes.
sacrificing some teams to save others? That seems morally questionable.
Everything about our situation is morally questionable. Survival often requires horrible choices.
The Seraphim's message includes warnings about Guardian behavior, something about testing human resolve.
So the Guardians are not just obstacles. They are part of the test itself.
Testing whether we deserve salvation or have the courage to seek it.
The mountain ascent becomes a trial by ordeal, proving human worthiness through suffering.
How many people need to reach the summit? One representative or everyone who received the message?
Unknown, but I am not taking chances. Multiple teams with different approach strategies.
I am organizing Scottish survivors for the journey, though the distance seems impossible to cover.
Japanese groups are building boats for ocean crossing, hoping Titans ignore maritime travel.
The message creates urgency without specifying deadlines. How long do we have to complete this pilgrimage?
Another unknown variable. But the Seraphim's transformation suggests time is limited.
What if we fail to reach Mount Orion? What is this second judgment the message mentions?
Probably complete extinction, final elimination of human consciousness.
Then failure is not an option, no matter how impossible the journey seems.
We attempt the pilgrimage together, even if we die trying.
At least we will die with purpose, instead of hiding underground forever.
8 years of survival leading to this moment. Everything has been preparation for Mount Orion.
The end of our trial period, one way or another.
Then we make our final stand, as a family and as a species.
My eidetic memory has been working overtime on this, cross-referencing every date and timeline I can remember.
Professor Al-Kitab listening intently.
What have you discovered?
The Titans arrived exactly 4,120 years after the last recorded divine intervention, down to the precise day according to multiple ancient calendars.
4,320 years. That number appears in Sanskrit texts as one divine patient cycle.
Celtic Druidic calculations mention similar time frames between periods of cosmic judgment.
Chinese divination also uses 4,320 as a completion number, when heaven and earth realign.
Every major religious tradition independently calculated this same period as the maximum time divine beings wait between interventions.
Suggesting the Titans were scheduled to arrive, not randomly deployed, but precisely timed.
According to what cosmic calendar, though, who or what maintains such precise timing?
Divine beings operating outside human time perception, but still bound by cosmic law and order.
The 8-year Titan occupation was never random. It was the conclusion of a 4,320-year test period.
Testing what exactly? Human spiritual development over millennia?
Whether we learned anything from Noah's flood and previous divine interventions.
If we evolved beyond the violence and corruption, that triggered previous judgments.
We failed the test, obviously. Otherwise, the Titans would not have been deployed.
But Mount Orion offers redemption, a second chance despite our failures.
Why give humanity another opportunity after 4,320 years of disappointment?
Perhaps divine mercy operates beyond human comprehension, offering salvation even to the unworthy.
The timing suggests this was always planned. Not punishment, but curriculum.
A cosmic education program using suffering to teach spiritual lessons.
8 years of Titans forcing human humility before offering the path to salvation.
Brilliant and terrible simultaneously. Divine pedagogy through apocalypse.
Now we understand why the timing was so precise. Everything follows a predetermined schedule.
Including our current moment of choice. Mount Orion represents graduation day. Final scroll fragments translated successfully. The revelation is staggering beyond belief.
What did you discover?
The anticipation is killing me.
Al-Baghdadi, ready to hear the truth.
The Titans are imprisoned angels, specifically the angels who refused to destroy humanity during Noah's time. They actually look like this.
Refused to destroy us, so they were supposed to kill everyone, but chose not to?
Exactly right. When God commanded the angelic host to eliminate corrupt humanity, these 144 angels refused the order out of compassion.
They chose mercy over obedience, and were punished for their compassion.
Imprisoned in Titan forms as punishment, forced to carry out the very destruction they originally refused.
That explains their constant weeping. They are tormented by their forced actions.
Their current suffering serves as humanity's final test. Will we show them the same compassion they once showed us?
By reaching Mount Orion and speaking the release phrase, we free them from their prison,
while simultaneously freeing ourselves from judgment. Mutual salvation through mutual sacrifice.
The pilgrimage becomes an act of forgiveness, forgiving our guardians for destroying us,
even though they were forced to destroy us against their will. The ultimate test of human spiritual maturity.
Understanding and forgiving cosmic injustice perpetrated by fellow victims.
This changes everything about the Titans. They are not our enemies, but our fellow fellow prisoners.
Suffering alongside us in this cosmic trial, waiting for mutual liberation.
The phrase salva nos saves both species, human and angelic consciousness simultaneously.
No wonder their behavior seemed reluctant. They never wanted to harm us.
Forced into the role of destroyers, when they naturally chose to be protectors.
Divine irony of the highest order. Punishment that mirrors the original crime.
And redemption that requires mutual forgiveness between victim and unwilling victimizer.
The compassionate angels who saved us during Noah's flood now require our compassion to save them.
Perfect circular justice. What goes around truly comes around.
On a cosmic timescale spanning millennia, divine patience finally reaching resolution.
Mount Orion becomes the courtroom where final verdicts are delivered for both humanity and the imprisoned angels.
The mass trauma was completely intentional, not accidental byproduct, but designed curriculum.
Designed to accomplish what exactly?
What was the educational purpose behind our suffering?
8 years of psychological torture hardly seems divine.
Forcing survivors to confront cosmic insignificance, stripping away human arrogance and self-importance.
Breaking down ego structures that prevent spiritual growth through direct confrontation with superior beings.
Making us face our true position in the cosmic hierarchy before attempting communication with divine entities.
You are saying the trauma was spiritual preparation, psychological conditioning for Mount Orion?
Exactly correct. Survivors who reach Mount Orion will be psychologically ready to accept divine intervention without shock or disbelief.
Those who could not handle the trauma already eliminated themselves. Natural selection for spiritual resilience.
Only the psychologically strongest survive to attempt pilgrimage, those capable of maintaining faith despite evidence of cosmic horror.
The ultimate stress test for human consciousness, separating wheat from chaff on a species level.
The survivors represent humanity's spiritual elite, not necessarily the physically strongest or most intelligent,
but those with the greatest capacity for faith under extreme stress. Faith that transcends rational understanding.
Faith that persists despite witnessing incomprehensible power, the kind of faith required for divine communication.
So the 8 years of suffering was theological education, teaching us humility and dependence on higher power.
Exactly what Noah's generation failed to learn, pride and self-sufficiency leading to cosmic destruction.
This time, humanity gets remedial education first, before facing the final examination.
Those who survive the education prove their readiness for graduate-level spiritual responsibility.
Mount Orion becomes the final exam, testing whether we truly learned the lessons.
And the examination requires only one student to succeed on behalf of the entire class.
Enormous pressure for whoever attempts the summit, carrying the spiritual weight of our entire species.
But also enormous privilege, becoming humanity's representative to divine authority.
The chosen one who speaks for all survivors in the final moment of judgment.
Selected not by human authority, but by their ability to complete the impossible journey.
Deep decryption of the Seraphim's message complete. The true instructions are far simpler than expected.
How simple are we talking about?
Military wants operational parameters.
Scientific analysis requires precise details.
Only one human needs to reach Mount Orion's summit, not multiple teams or large groups.
One representative for our entire species.
That significantly changes tactical planning.
But how do we determine who should make the attempt?
The message specifies natural selection through pilgrimage. Whoever successfully navigates the Guardian Titans earns the right.
So the journey itself determines worthiness, not human choice or democratic selection.
What about weapons and technology for the ascent? Military support for the chosen individual?
The journey must be completed through faith rather than force. Technology and weapons will prove useless against Guardians.
Faith-based passage through supernatural obstacles. That is hardly a measurable variable.
The Guardians will only permit passage to individuals who demonstrate complete spiritual surrender.
How does one demonstrate spiritual surrender? What observable behaviors indicate readiness?
This is completely outside military doctrine. We have no training for faith-based operations.
My synesthetic abilities detect harmonic resonance between the Seraphim's communication and specific emotional states.
Emotional states characterized by acceptance, humility and willingness to sacrifice for others.
Self-sacrifice is the key to Guardian passage, ironically similar to Titan behavior patterns.
So we need volunteers willing to die for the possibility of species salvation.
Not willing to die, but willing to surrender control, accepting whatever outcome divine will determines.
The phrase salva nos must be spoken with genuine faith, not as magical incantation, but as sincere prayer.
Prayer presupposes belief in something greater than human understanding or capability.
Most survivors lost religious faith during the Titan years. How do we cultivate genuine belief in hopeless circumstances?
Perhaps the hopeless circumstances are precisely what cultivates faith. When human solutions prove inadequate, divine intervention becomes logical.
The 12 years of apocalypse prepared survivors for this moment of ultimate dependence on divine mercy.
Those who retained faith despite evidence to the contrary are now best positioned for the final test.
Faith warriors rather than traditional soldiers, fighting spiritual battles with spiritual weapons.
The entire apocalypse was theological boot camp, training humanity's spiritual special forces.
And now graduation day arrives, with final mission parameters clearly defined.
Obi, the path becomes clear now. Guardian Titans serve as spiritual gatekeepers.
How do we achieve the spiritual surrender they require?
Brother Al-Kitab offers theological perspective.
Dr. Blackthorne providing synesthetic analysis.
Spiritual surrender means abandoning human will, accepting divine will even when incomprehensible.
But how do we practically demonstrate this state? What actions prove genuine surrender?
Islamic tradition teaches tawakkul, complete reliance on divine providence.
My synesthesia detects specific neural patterns associated with ego dissolution experiences.
The Guardian Titans respond to consciousness frequency, not physical behavior or spoken words.
So they can sense our internal spiritual state, reading our minds or souls directly.
Angels have always possessed such capabilities, seeing beyond external appearances to spiritual reality.
The frequency signatures match deep meditation states, complete present moment awareness without future anxiety.
Guardian passage requires perfect presence, no fear of death or attachment to survival.
That seems almost impossible for humans to achieve. Our survival instincts work against spiritual surrender.
The impossible becomes possible through divine grace, when human effort proves insufficient.
Some survivors have already achieved these states through 8 years of trauma and loss.
Those who lost everything external, but retained internal peace and compassion.
The Titan-touched individuals we discussed earlier, their madness might actually be spiritual breakthrough.
Divine madness versus human sanity. Higher consciousness appearing insane to lower awareness.
Their neural patterns match the required frequency exactly. They have already achieved Guardian-compatible consciousness.
Perhaps they are our natural pilgrims, already prepared for the spiritual journey.
But most Titan-touched die within months. Their brains cannot sustain the cosmic input.
Perhaps death is part of their preparation. Ego death preceding physical death.
Or perhaps physical death is irrelevant. If consciousness can complete the journey independently,
the pilgrimage becomes a death journey, where success means transcending human limitations.
So whoever reaches Mount Orion's summit will no longer be human in any meaningful sense.
Transformed into something capable of divine communication, a bridge between human and angelic consciousness.
The ultimate sacrifice for species salvation, surrendering individual humanity to save collective humanity.
And the Guardians recognize this sacrifice, permitting passage to those ready for transformation.
My synesthetic abilities are revealing the complete pattern. The 12-year apocalypse follows the exact structure of Noah's flood.
Elaborate on this parallel, please.
What are the specific correspondences?
How does Mount Orion function as an ark?
The Titans represent the floodwaters, overwhelming force, eliminating corrupt civilization.
While preserving a faithful remnant, those who retain spiritual connection despite destruction.
The 8 years of Titan occupation equal 40 days of rain, purification period washing away human arrogance.
And Mount Orion serves as Mount Ararat, where the Ark comes to rest after the waters recede.
Exactly correct on every detail, but this time, humanity builds the Ark through faith.
Rather than receiving construction instructions directly, we must discover our salvation path independently.
Testing whether we learned spiritual lessons from previous divine interventions.
The pilgrimage to Mount Orion becomes Ark construction, built from spiritual materials rather than physical ones.
Faith, surrender, compassion, and sacrifice. The materials required for spiritual Ark construction.
And the dove returning with olive branch becomes the seraphim announcing redemption availability.
The phrase Salva Nos functions as the dove, carrying humanity's message to divine authority.
Proof that we learn to ask for help, rather than relying solely on human solutions.
The Rainbow Covenant after Noah's flood becomes the promise that this is humanity's final test.
No more global catastrophes if we pass this examination. Graduation to spiritual maturity as a species.
But failure results in complete extinction. No more chances after Mount Orion.
The stakes could not be higher. Eternal salvation or eternal damnation.
Which explains the precision of the divine timing and the careful preparation through Titan occupation.
8 years of spiritual education, preparing humanity for final examination.
Those who survive represent our best hope, the most spiritually evolved human specimens.
Carrying the responsibility for our entire species. In the ultimate high-stakes spiritual test,
Mount Orion awaits our representative, the new Noah who will speak for all humanity.
And unlike the original Noah, this one must earn salvation through faith.
Rather than receiving it through divine favor, humanity must prove its worthiness actively.
By completing the impossible journey through Guardian Titan territory to the summit,
where Salvanos will either save or condemn us, depending on the spiritual state of whoever speaks it.
The moment of truth approaches after 4,320 years of divine patience
and 12 years of intensive preparation through apocalyptic education.
Everything depends on what happens next at the Sacred Mountain Summit.
The final exam begins now. May divine mercy grant us success.
Multiple pilgrimage attempts initiated worldwide, coordinating survivor movements toward Mount Orion.
Cairo Group departed 3 days ago. 17 volunteers attempted Guardian Passage. Safe to say, every single one was flattened.
São Paulo pilgrims crossed Brazilian highlands. 23 individuals seeking Mount Orion.
Moscow survivors traveling through European territories. Guardian Titans eliminating most attempts.
Beijing expedition reports massive casualties. Only 2 pilgrims survived initial Guardian contact.
Guardian Titans detecting and eliminating pilgrims. Success rate less than 5% globally.
It seems the Guardians sense fear and self-preservation instincts.
São Paulo group completely eliminated. Traces of pride triggered immediate Guardian response.
Moscow survivors failed at spiritual surrender. Guardian Titans consuming those with ego attachment.
The 2 Beijing survivors display complete emotional detachment, moving through Guardian territory like sleepwalkers.
Only those achieving perfect spiritual surrender succeed. Guardian Titans function as consciousness scanners.
European route littered with failed pilgrimage attempts. Guardian Titans maintaining perfect perimeter security.
Beijing survivors entered Mount Orion foothills. No further communication received.
Multiple individuals approaching the summit, but most communication signals terminating at Guardian contact.
European attempt completely failed. All volunteers consumed by Guardian Titans.
Beijing pilgrims status unknown. Assumed successful based on Guardian behavior patterns.
Guardian Titans worldwide showing agitation, suggesting someone has reached the summit chamber.
Seismic activity detected from Mount Orion. Something significant happening at the peak.
Energy signatures spiking globally. All Titans responding to Mount Orion events.
This is it. Final moment of judgment arriving.
All communication networks standing by, recording whatever happens next.
I made it through the Guardians. Complete surrender was the key. No fear, no pride, no self-preservation.
Sarah, are you at Mount Orion? How did you get past the Guardian Titans?
I let go of everything. Every attachment to survival or success. Walked toward them with perfect acceptance.
The Guardians permitted your passage? What was that experience like?
They looked into my soul completely, saw that I truly did not care about living or dying, only about serving divine will.
Are you at the summit now? What does Mount Orion contain?
Artificial chamber carved from living rock. There's a crystalline altar in the center. Salvanos has been inscribed on it in every human language.
Every language on the altar? How many different scripts?
Thousands of them. Languages I have never seen before, but somehow I understand them all.
Divine translation occurring in your consciousness? Direct understanding without linguistic processing?
Yes, exactly. The meaning transcends language barriers. Universal comprehension through divine grace.
Are you going to say the phrase, "Is this the moment we have been waiting for"?
I can feel the weight of our entire species. Every human who ever lived or died. This choice affects all of us.
You carry our hopes and prayers. Whatever happens, we trust your judgment.
The crystalline altar is responding to your presence, any visible changes or energy fluctuations.
Light building within the crystal structure, harmonizing with my heartbeat and breathing. It knows I'm here.
Then speak the words. Fulfill humanity's destiny.
The skies are parting globally. Massive atmospheric disturbances worldwide.
Divine intervention manifesting visibly, exactly as prophesied in ancient texts.
Seismic readings of all possible charts. Mount Orion generating massive energy pulses.
Something is descending from the sky. Multiple objects emerging from the opened heavens.
Ophonyms confirmed. Wheel-shaped entities covered in eyes.
The highest order of angels, instruments of divine judgment and mercy.
They are engaging the Titans directly. Systematic obliteration beginning worldwide.
Brilliant displays of divine fire, each Titan being consumed by holy flames.
Titan elimination proceeding with mathematical precision. No resistance observed from target entities.
The imprisoned angels finally receiving release. Their suffering ending through divine intervention.
Energy signatures suggest complete molecular dissolution. Titans being unmade at the atomic level.
12 years of occupation ending in minutes, divine efficiency beyond human comprehension.
Global communication networks receiving transmission. Source identified as the Mount Orion Seraphim.
Final revelation being broadcast to all survivors. Universal divine message incoming.
The Titans served as vicarious atonement, consuming human flesh to pay for our sins.
Their willing sacrifice despite their own suffering. Perfect love expressed through perfect torment.
Humanity granted complete absolution. Slate wiped clean through angelic sacrifice.
But future moral failures will result in final judgment. No more chances after this redemption.
Second and final covenant with humanity. Conditional salvation requiring spiritual maturity.
The sky is clearing for the first time in 12 years. Sunlight reaching Earth without obstruction.
Ecological restoration beginning immediately. Infrastructure regenerating through divine intervention.
Miracle of renewal following miracle of redemption. Paradise restored through perfect sacrifice.
The age of Titans ends. The age of human spiritual responsibility begins.
We have been given our second chance. May we prove worthy of this incredible gift.
The bunker systems are safe to abandon, sky clearing completely overhead.
I am beginning descent from Mount Orion. The chamber dissolved after the Ophanims departed.
Tokyo infrastructure regenerating spontaneously. Buildings repairing themselves through divine intervention.
Chicago emerging from underground tunnel systems. First sunlight I have seen in 12 years.
I think it's time for our first family reunion in 12 years of separation and survival.
Scotland to Chicago seems possible now, with Titans eliminated and infrastructure restored.
Commercial aviation resuming globally. Divine intervention included transportation restoration.
I am documenting everything in my memory palace. Humanity's emergence into a purified world.
The memory of cosmic insignificance will remain, a permanent reminder of divine grace.
We learned humility through suffering and received mercy through sacrifice.
The greatest gift is understanding our place in a universe governed by perfect love.
Future generations will know this story through my eidetic memory preservation.
They will understand the price of redemption and the responsibility that comes with salvation.
12 years of apocalypse teaching eternal lessons about faith, sacrifice, and divine mercy.
We are no longer the same species that faced the Titans, transformed through suffering into something worthy.
The Titans were our teachers, imprisoned angels showing us the cost of love.
And now we live in the world their sacrifice purchased, a second chance for humanity to choose correctly.
Mount Orion stands as eternal testimony to divine mercy exceeding human understanding.
The crystalline altar remains in my memory, perfect symbol of surrender leading to salvation.
See you all soon, for the first time in 12 years.
Family reunion in a redeemed world, the greatest gift imaginable.
We survived the apocalypse and discovered it was really salvation.
The end that was actually a beginning. Death that produced eternal life.
Welcome to humanity's second chance. May we prove worthy of this incredible grace.
The Titans are gone, but their lesson remains forever. We are small, but we are loved, beyond measure, beyond comprehension.
And love answered our cry for salvation when we finally learned to ask,
Salva nos, the prayer that saved two species.
Salva nos, save us all.
And we were saved, against all hope, beyond all deserving, through perfect love.